I want to look at the pollen of this narcissus plant. There's also a little insect on the left side. And I'm using my all-purpose tweezers to carefully collect some pollen from the anthers. The pollen is quite sticky, so it sticks quite well to the tweezers. And again, another view here. That's quite a large sample, it's more than enough. And here we have a natural pollen collector. The stickiness of the pollen allows it to stick to insects, in this case a bumblebee. And yeah, you can see how the back of the bumblebee is covered in pollen. And off it goes. Yeah, I had some problems getting the pollen off, so I had to scratch the tweezers on the edge of my little plastic container. And then back at home I took the pollen and then I made two samples on one slide, a wet mount and a dry mount. So this means that in one case I'll be adding water to the pollen, and in the other case I'm simply going to put a cover glass directly on the pollen without any mounting medium, and that is called a dry mount. And I want to show you now how the image differs between these two specimens. Yeah, so that's plenty of pollen, as you can see, and I have to separate the pollen a little bit to make it easier to see. So this will be the dry mount. You can see that I'm directly putting a cover glass on top of it simply to squeeze it flat, and on the right side I'm adding a drop of water, and this is then the mounting medium, and then of course also a small cover glass on top. And now let's compare the two images a little bit. Of course, it has to go under the microscope first. And we start with the dry mount sample. You can see the individual pollen grains. They appear to be quite dark on the white background, as expected. At a higher magnification, the pollen already starts to become a little bit transparent, but the edges or the corners of the pollen is quite dark still, and this is because of the high difference in refractive index. We're now looking again yet at a higher magnification, and yet at a higher magnification, and you can see quite distinctly the oval shape of the pollen and all the details. Now this here on the other hand is now using water as a mounting medium, again at the lowest magnification with a 4x objective, the 4x objective. At a higher magnification yet, you can already see here that the pollen do not look quite as dark on the edges, and they already also started to swell a little bit, so they're a little bit rounder, and the reason is that the pollen started to absorb water, and this caused it to swell. But the water as a mounting medium also allows you to see a little bit more structural details inside the pollen. So the mounting medium can make quite a big difference. I'm switching over now to dark field. This is in water, again using dark field. And here we can also see some air bubbles, and also this dark field illumination again allows you to see other details that you normally would not see. So, but also here the round shape is quite visible. Last, I tried so-called Epi Illumination. So this means I switched off the microscope light and I used light from above, and you can see a little bit so from the dry mount, that is, of course, and you can also see that it looks a little bit more like a stereoscopic image what we have, and of course also here